Welcome to Tinkercad 101. Tinkercad is my favorite 3D program. It's free, it's web-based, and I think the reason I can deal with Tinkercad where every other 3D program has flummoxed me is because in Tinkercad, you're only ever dealing with two dimensions at a time. You're either dealing with X and Y, or you're dealing with Z. You never deal with all three of them at the same time. And since monitors are 2D and we're used to interacting with computers in 2D, I think that's actually why I can accomplish a lot more in Tinkercad than I can in true 3D sculpting program. So once you get into Tinkercad, we're going to click on Create 3D Design. And this is just 101. I'm just going to show you the bare bone basics. So over here on the right side, you have your tools. Squares, cylinders, circles, and pretty much any and every combination thereof. There are tons and tons of shapes available. To use something, you just click on it and drag it over to your work plane. Speaking of work plane, it defaults to millimeters. If you want to use inches, you just click on settings down here, change that from metric to imperial, and now everything is in inches. I typically keep it in millimeters because when I measure things in the real world, they get measured in millimeters, so that way I don't hurt them. 1 inch is about 24 millimeters, so since we're not doing brain surgery, that can pretty much work out for you. Right here, this is pretty much everything you're going to use in one shape or form. And so let's go over here. This is our camera control over in the top left. This will change the view. Whenever you click on it, you can also drag it around. Home will always take you back to this position, so if you go off and get lost somewhere, you can just click home to get right back. Moving around in Tinkercad, if you hold down your right mouse button, you'll rotate everything. And if you hold down the mouse wheel, you'll pan everything. And you can rotate while things are off screen and you can't see anything. So that's why your home button is real good, because that automatically just takes you to your work plane wherever. This will basically just zoom in on whatever objects you have. Zoom in, zoom out, you use your mouse wheel. This guy right here is the orthographic or perspective. Now, if I take this cube, I make another cube right there, and I try to line them up, I'm going to have a very difficult time lining them up using the perspective view, because they look like they're different sizes. That is simply because this one is closer to me than that one. If I go to the orthographic view, I can see that they're already perfectly lined up. It doesn't matter that this one is behind this one. It's only showing me the two dimensions that I can actually see, which would be Z in this case. So I normally always keep it in the orthographic. Once you have multiple pieces on here, let me go ahead and mention, anytime you're using a sphere or a circle, you always want to jack the steps up as far as possible. It's called sides, the other one steps. Let's just take a look at the difference. So we've got a 64, and I think 20 or something is the default. And you don't even need to zoom in that much to see there's a big difference there. Same thing is true for the cylinder. The higher the number, the smoother it is. So moving things on the X and Y axis, grab them, move them. Same thing with sizing them. Drag them, or you can click and type in a number. If you hold down your Shift key while dragging, it will scale things and keep the aspect. So it is increasing the Z at the same rate that it's increasing X. So that's an easy way to make objects larger. Once you've got objects the way you want them, up here, you've got two kinds of bind. You've got a union group and a bundle. A bundle group basically keeps them as two separate objects, but now they behave as one object. Anything you do to one object is automatically done to the other. If you do a bundle group, then that actually makes them one object. And this is the one that you're going to be using a whole lot of the time. And you'll also notice objects can either be solids or whole. If it's a whole, that simply means it's going to subtract itself from whatever it is intersecting. So I bundle that. Now cut a circle. And you can unbundle them. One thing that's really useful once you get into complicated things is the hide. If you've got a whole bunch of things on top of each other because they need to be a certain way and you need to get to something you can't see, you can just start hiding things until you can get to the one piece that you need to change, and then you can unhide everything. And once you're done and you've got everything bundled together, I'll go ahead and mention now, I'm running out of time. Whenever you bundle something together, always make sure they overlap. If I've got this box and this box, and turn off, snap, and I make them so that they are touching each other. All right, they're touching each other. If I bundle them and export them, it's going to print these as two separate objects. They're not going to be connected even though they're touching. So whenever you're combining two items, always make sure they always. It doesn't have to be much. It can overlap a millimeter, it can overlap a tenth of a millimeter. Make sure they overlap before bundle them. Otherwise, they won't be one single piece. And then, of course, once you got the single piece, export STL, and you can load that straight into your 3D program. All right, so that's the quick Tinkercad 101. We're going to try recreating Nevermore's weapon in Tinkercad 102.